Ohio State has key advantages over Texas heading into the Cotton Bowl.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in, Buckeye fans, to this bonus episode of Locked On Buckeyes, which is your daily Ohio State podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am your host, Jay Stevens, also the host of the Jay Stevens Podcast. And during this Buckeye Blitz, we're going to feature a portion of a show where I was on Locked On College Football with Spencer McLaughlin. Him and I chopped it up a little bit, talking about Ohio State versus Texas in the Cotton Bowl and some advantages Ohio State has in the big game tonight. So we're not going to waste any more time. We're going to bring Spencer in. We'll bring the whole segment in to hear about what Spencer and I think about why Ohio State is favored and should beat Texas tonight in the national semifinal game.
Can Texas actually beat Ohio State? I mean, sure. I've seen far crazier things happen. Remember, a team that could be playing, that I predict to play in the national championship game, lost to Northern Illinois. So nothing in college football makes sense. That's Jay Stevens, Locked On Buckeyes. What does make sense, Jay, is the way Ohio State has played the last two games. It's what people expected before the year. Best roster in college football. They've put a lot of money into it. You've got a veteran coaching staff. Kind of looks that way. Can Texas slow down Ohio State reasonably, or are they just going to have to go blow for blow with them?
Kind of got to go blow for blow. I don't think they can actually reasonably slow down Ohio State or contain Ohio State. Because I was thinking about this earlier. We got on the show together. You have to give so much attention to Jeremiah Smith. It opens up so many other avenues for Will Howard to just efficiently run Ohio State's offense. On defense, there's really no weakness. The one liability people thought Ohio State's defense had at one point was linebackers, which is now a massive strength for Ohio State. So I don't really know what Texas can do to slow down or even try to contain anything Ohio State's going to do in the Cotton Bowl.
I look at this Ohio State offense and I say there's a lot of different ways that they can attack somebody. By the way, I thought we'd see this going into the Rose Bowl. Turns out it wasn't needed. Maybe Chip Kelly still has it in his back pocket. The quarterback run with Will Howard is going to show up. It might not be a Riley Leonard sort of game or Haynes King at Georgia Tech where he carries the ball 10 to 20 times. But there is going to be a third down and short, a fourth and short, something in this game where you see something that isn't just a quarterback sneak with Will Howard. Just watch for that. Just watch for that. But this receiving core, Jay, Ohio State has had a lot of great ones. This one feels like it's up there for me. I don't think I would have said that earlier in the year, but Jeremiah Smith has really progressed from the start of the season to what he is now, which is the best receiver in that room. So if you were Texas, put yourself in the shoes of the Texas defense coordinator. What's your game plan here?
Pass interference, hold everybody, try to do things to where Ohio State may get free yards, but you're keeping them out of the end zone. I'm not trying to be sarcastic. I'm being honest because I don't really think there really is an option. Excuse me. The only option really is to infiltrate the interior of the Ohio State's offensive line. That's it. Earlier I was trying to be sarcastic with the flags and stuff, but no, like the only real weakness is the interior. Guard, center, guard. Playing three guards, that rotation has been very, very well in the playoff. Center Carson Hinsman has been phenomenal, replacing Seth McLaughlin, the Remington Award winner. But that's really the only weakness. If Texas is able to get pressure in the middle, that is the only way to slow down the Buckeyes offense. The other issue with that is the up-tempo offense, and Will Howard getting the ball up very, very quickly, is to overcome the weakness on the offensive line. So they've already altered the offense to overcome a potential obstacle on the offensive line, and it's working out to perfection. So, yes, the holdings and the pass interference calls, those things are ways to slow down Ohio State's offense. But the true only way to actually get Ohio State's offense out of rhythm is to get pressure on the interior of the O-line. But nobody's been – Tennessee, Oregon, really good defensive lines. They couldn't do it.
Great defensive lines, both of them. I perhaps infamously at this point, and anybody else who did it probably feels this way as well. I picked Ohio State to lose at home to Tennessee because I thought, that Tennessee defensive front against that Ohio State front four, I thought there'd be a Michigan hangover in the locker room. Instead, they've turned it around. They're playing with the right mentality, the right sort of edge. But it's that offensive line, Jay, that I look at and say, boy, I didn't think they would click that quickly. Buckeyes offensive line coach deserves a lot of credit.
He does. He definitely does. Justin Fry's been under a lot of scrutiny for the way the offensive line has played this year. But when you look in the true context of everything, there's a left tackle going down to the Oregon game. The backup left tackle came in. He is also out for the year. You move your guard to left tackle. You re-engineer some things on the interior. All of a sudden, I think it was a week of the Michigan game, Seth McLaughlin goes down with an Achilles injury on a Tuesday, game's on a Saturday. The moment that unit was able to get practice time together and there wasn't a Wednesday practice where you're working together for the first time, all of a sudden a game on a Sunday or a Saturday, where you're getting week after week after week. They're able to build chemistry. They're able to work through some of the kinks they couldn't normally work through in a season. We're seeing this offensive line, as unconventional as the rotating guard situation is, it's working out to perfection right now. And Justin Fry has done a phenomenal job with development and coaching these guys up and getting them prepared for every single game. This is a message from our sponsor, Intuit TurboTax. Are you tired of the endless waiting, wondering, and worrying about your taxes? Well, now that's a thing of the past. You see, taxes don't need to be complicated or stressful. TurboTax is here to change the game by matching you with a TurboTax expert who can get to work on your return right away. No more waiting for answers. No more wondering if you're missing out on deductions, whether you've got one form or 20. TurboTax experts give your taxes their undivided attention while you get real-time updates on their progress so you can focus on what really matters. You won't have to lift a finger, but you'll get the peace of mind knowing that your taxes are being handled by the pros. Ready for stress-free taxes and the most money back guaranteed? Head over to TurboTax.com today and get matched with your expert who's ready to take your taxes off your plate so you can focus on your day. Only available with TurboTax Live full service, real-time updates only in the iOS mobile app. See guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. From big upsets to game-winning drives, the NFL playoffs are better with FanDuel because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. The FanDuel app gives you everything you need for live bets, same-game parlays, and so much more. Simply visit FanDuel.com to join today and get started with $200 in bonus bets at FanDuel.com. Make this playoff season unforgettable with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
The other part of Ohio State that goes overlooked because of how explosive the offensive weapons are, how good Will Howard has been, or how well Will Howard has been playing over the last couple of games, this Buckeyes defense looks like it's playing its best football of the year. And remember, for all the mess that was the Michigan game, wasn't on the defense. That was 13 points they gave up. That's usually enough. And there have only been 3 instances this year, Jay, in which a team has scored over 17 points on the Buckeyes, and one of those teams was Oregon twice, and we know how that second game looked and how they played in that first half, holding them scoreless until literally the last play of the first half. So when I look at this Buckeyes defense, this is the reason that I am so confident in Ohio State winning and covering this game. I've got them beating Texas 30-13. I don't think this one is as competitive as Notre Dame and Penn State is going to be. And it's because I have been saying this on the show about Texas's offense for quite a while. They don't play 4 quarters of football. Maybe it's a second half. It's usually a first half. Look at what they did against Arizona State. That has been their game all year long, really the last couple years under Sark. They've got great game plans. They hit a couple explosives. They scheme up some great plays, and then they go dormant. They go dormant for a little while and then save it at the end. And when you're playing Kentucky, that's not a problem. Or when you were playing Arkansas, it's not a huge deal. But Arizona State was good enough to just about make them pay the price for that. Ohio State, plenty good enough to do more than just hand them a loss.
Oh, plenty good enough, man. This defense is insane. And the fact that
they're fast. They look like a blend of speed and strength at every position.
This is what we have been talking about on Locked on Buckeyes for the past few years, because one of the biggest knocks on Ohio State's defense is that there's defenses in the South that look faster, The players look stronger. The players look smarter. Then all of a sudden this year, it seems like everything is coming together at the right time. Tennessee and Oregon twice. Those are the only times that Ohio State has allowed an opponent to score over 17 points. Yes, there have been times where there's been a hiccup here or a hiccup there in a game, but nobody's been able to get any form of a consistent offense against Ohio State. And I think for Texas, with their inconsistencies, and even if you look at just some of the rushing numbers, as I was doing earlier today, they're not good.
No,
yes,
they're not.
Texas wants to run the ball. They only had 53 rushing yards against Arizona State. They had 31 rushing yards against Georgia in the SEC championship. The first time they played Georgia, they had 29 rushing yards. Those are the big games. In the big games, what you're known for is supposed to show up in a big way, and it didn't do it. So, yes, Arizona State only gave up, 53 rushing yards to Texas? Ohio State's defense is better in every way.
And Ohio State's defense just played a game against Oregon that has been a good rushing team. Not a great one, but a good rushing team all year. Minus 23. Now, that's sack yardage included, so that's going to distort it. Up to 20 yards by running backs or pitch plays to receivers. The Buckeyes were just there all over the place. So I've got this game comfortably to Ohio State, 30-13. Your score prediction, good sir.
31, Ohio State. Texas is going to only score 14. Some people may say, Jay, why do you think Texas is going to score 14 when Tennessee scored, 20 or 21? Texas's inconsistencies and Ohio State's just straight dominance on defense. Like, with Quinn Ewers, he's a good guy. He has good arm talent. But he's going to make a lot of messed up plays on Friday. I almost said Saturday. On Friday night, because there's no holes in pass coverage. Nothing. Short, intermediate, deep. There's no holes. The Buckeyes are able to get pressure with 3 or sometimes 4. Now, it may take a little bit of time for them to get there, but that's because Quinn Ewers is going to have to wait 3, 4, 5 seconds to get the ball off, but nobody's open. Next thing you know, Tyleik Williams or Twimaloa or Sawyer are putting him down on the ground. I have no problem thinking about Will Howard in this way and how as efficient as he has been, and I expect him to be efficient once again. And I kind of think this might be Travion Henderson's best game of the season statistically, because I just feel like in this day, the last year Ohio State played in the Cotton Bowl, it was the worst performance, worst game plan we had ever seen in a Ryan Day era until Michigan this year. And I do think Travion Henderson, who couldn't play in that game in the Cotton Bowl last year, wants revenge and wants to just show everybody, I am the guy. I can get the job done. Well, there you have it. Spencer and I are on the same page that Ohio State is not only favored via FanDuel Sportsbook, but our eyeballs tell us the same thing, that Ohio State should beat Texas tonight to advance to the national championship game to play Notre Dame. Buckeyes in the Irish in the Natty? I never thought I would see that in my lifetime, but it's realistic that it could happen this year. You all can follow me on Twitter at jstevens07. Send every email to jstevens317@gmail.com. Remember, tonight at the conclusion of tonight's game, we will be live on YouTube. Myself, Barrett Salim, and Jeff Hunt. Once again, we'll have our Locked On Buckeye Squad show, instantly reacting live on YouTube to tonight's game.